Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Brit in F1. If you are new here and you do like the look of this channel, then please hit the subscribe button down below, and if you do like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Now, we have just gone over about halfway through the season. Can you believe it? I know. There's only about 8 races left, which is quite sad in a way, but it's quite exciting. And I just kind of want to reflect on who, for me personally, has been the biggest surprise this season. And for me, that has been Lando Norris. Now, as we all know, this is only Lando's second year in Formula One. Last year was his rookie season, and for me, he did have a pretty good rookie season. He obviously did make a few mistakes, but you know, he was a rookie. I think personally he had to work on his tyre management, his racecraft, but as we all know, the McLaren last year did face a lot of reliability problems, so all wasn't Lando's fault. But I think he had a lot of pressure going into the 2020 season, purely based on the fact that his teammate Carlos Sainz is leaving to go to Ferrari. So Lando now is kind of the main guy in charge. So had to come into the 2020 season and really show his worth and why the team should stick with him as, could you say, the #1 driver. Lando, just at 20 years old, really has to step up to the plate and really show McLaren why they should stick by him, why he is now going to be the face of McLaren's future, and I believe Lando has really proved them wrong. No one expected Lando or even McLaren to have the season they are having. Back in Austria, the first race of the season, no one would have ever expected Lando Norris to finish on the podium. He finished 3rd due to Lewis Hamilton's penalty.
Lando, the gap to Hamilton was 4.8. I think that's a podium, mate. I think that's a podium.
Yes! Well, I don't know, I don't want to celebrate too much here, but I'm so out of breath. Oh yes, boys!
Are those tears, mate?
Ah, definitely not.
Tears of joy, come on.
You know.
And what an achievement that was, the opening race of the 2020 season, and Lando Norris got a podium, his first F1 podium. It was amazing. Why it was so amazing is because no one expected it, but I think the season he is having is just really showing his worth. And you know, he's only 20 years old and he still has so much to learn. It's crazy, but I can see great things happening from Lando. So as well as already scoring his first ever F1 podium, Lando Norris also came really close to getting a second one at Monza. Now, Monza for McLaren was an amazing weekend. Carlos Sainz actually finished P2 after an amazing race, but the red flag actually messed Lando's strategy and grid position up. He was actually running P3 in the final podium position pretty much at the beginning of the race, but as we all know, there was a red flag and it kind of messed it up for him, so he actually missed out on that final podium position but still finished P4. So a P2 and a P4 for McLaren was amazing, the best result they have had for years and years. In one way it was so upsetting because Lando was so close to the podium, but in a way it was a really happy achievement to secure that P2 and P4 just because of the journey McLaren has been on recently. As we all know, they have had a very difficult few years, so to see them progress so massively this year has just been amazing to watch. And I just think that, again, that just shows how good Lando is performing this year. To nearly get a second podium in the McLaren is completely crazy, and it's amazing to see. For me, he has brought a new life to McLaren. He's that cheeky chappy, loves a bit of banter, he's the social media guy, and I think that has really re-energised McLaren, and I think they really needed that at a time of rebranding, just finding themselves as a brand, as a Formula One team again. And I think Lando has really helped that. You know, he's the fans' favourite, the cheeky chap, and I think that is really bringing in a new type of audience to Formula One, and I think it's great to see. So there is also a lot of pressure for Lando to hold the team, the stability of the team together, as well, because he is getting, of course, Daniel Ricciardo as his teammate, who is a very experienced driver. You know, Daniel has been in F1 for so many years. He's obviously going to come into the team all guns blazing. As smiley as Daniel is, he wants to win. He wants to win a world championship. He wants to win races. He wants to beat Lando. And I know everyone is really excited for the partnership, because I think, again, it's going to be amazing for the team, going to bring that new lease of life, having two cheeky chaps together. But, you know, when Lando gets in the car, all that cheekiness, the social media guy, the Twitch streamer, that gets thrown out the window, and he's an F1 driver. And that's the same with Daniel Ricciardo. You know, they're going to have a lot of banter together, but I think they are going to be very aggressive as teammates, but also on the circuit. You know, we've seen that with Lando and Carlos Sainz. Yes, they are really good friends, but when it gets down to it, when it gets down to the nitty-gritty stuff, they are very, very competitive on the racetrack, and I think that is going to be the same with Daniel Ricciardo. Now for me, Lando has really perfected and upped his game when it comes to a Sunday, and when he needed it most. As we all know from Scenario 7, Last Lap Lando, you know, he really knows what to do now, and I think that's great for his future. He's really understanding how to manage tyres, perfect that racecraft. You know, he's really upped his game in qualifying as well. Up until Mugello, I think he was only one of 4 drivers to get into the top 10 shootout every Sunday, which is an amazing figure. You know, that McLaren, from where it was last year to where it is now, and how Lando is driving it, for me is amazing to see. Personally, for me, this season, Lando has been outperforming Carlos Sainz, who of course is the more experienced guy, is kind of seen as the #1 driver at McLaren, just because of how experienced he is. But for me, Lando has just been really outperforming him this season. And to be fair, Carlos has had a lot more reliability problems, could you say? He has been more unlucky than Lando, let's put it that way. You know, he had that tyre blowout in Silverstone, and then he had that crash in Mugello. So he's had a few experiences that were kind of out of his control. But again, when it comes to qualifying, for me, Lando has been edging Carlos out a little bit, and it's great to see, because, you know, Lando is only 20, so it holds such positives for the future. For me, Lando is really raising McLaren as a whole. He's becoming a team leader, all at the age of 20, which is crazy. Like, I don't think I could be doing what he was doing when I was at 20 years old. It's absolutely crazy. So for me, it just shows how great he's going to be in the future, and I do see him as a world champion. I think if McLaren can continue this massive progression that they have had this year, they can really propel Lando into a world championship car. Lando's got the team behind him, he just needs that car that can challenge up front. But I think what he has achieved this season, to be sitting 4th in the championship, is massive, and I don't think anyone really expected that at all coming into this season. He's just outperforming everyone. He's really gone home over the Christmas break, really worked out what he needs to improve on, and I think it's just great to see, and I think only great things are going to come for Lando. Getting the team behind him before Daniel Ricciardo comes next year, you know, Daniel is that big personality, and I think Lando will now want to be seen as the #1 driver at McLaren, and I think it is going to be hard for McLaren to establish who is that #1 driver. Personally, for me, they do have to give it to Lando, just because of how well he is doing this season. He's 4th in the championship, which I think no one would have expected him to be in, which is crazy. And McLaren are now 3rd in the championship as well, which is outstanding, and I think there's only more positives to come with that team. You know, Lando is only 20 years old, and I think we are only just starting to see what he can achieve. You know, McLaren, for me, just have to give him that car and he will be challenging for a world championship in the future. There's no doubt about it. He's building that team up, he's getting the team behind him, and for me it's starting to look like how Mercedes started to evolve as well. I can see massive comparisons between Mercedes and McLaren. They're going to have a really strong pairing with Daniel and Lando, and it's just now down to McLaren if they can give that car to the drivers to really challenge up front. So I'm going to leave that video there. Let me know who you guys think has been your star performer this season. Mine has of course been Lando Norris, but you guys might have a different one, so let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!